Tonight we'll take a look at students taking fashions to new heights on campus.
Plus, the Boys and Girls Club of Troy honors local heroes. Stay tuned, Troy TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for April 19th, 2012. I'm Judson Garner.
And I'm Bailey Majors. Thank you for joining us this evening. Last night, some of Troy's most fashionable students strutted down the runway in the spring production of La Couture's fashion showcase of Welcome to the Hamptons. Lights, runway, fashion. La Couture's fashion show production of Welcome to the Hamptons filled the TC ballrooms with colorful garments, classy wardrobes, and all the styles of New York.
It's about a girl named Brooklyn who's from a small town in Alabama. She travels to New York to pretty much find herself, to learn about fashion, to figure out what else is out there in the world, and at the very end of the show, she ends up in the Hamptons.
Basically, show our campus and give them our view on fashion.
The La Couture organization has been busy at work preparing and perfecting the show since the beginning of the semester.
And from January until this morning at 3 a.m., they practice 2 to 3 days a week. They have dress rehearsals, they have practices where they have to do skits, intros, outros.
Along with all the hard work and effort to create a New York runway, where did the designers get their inspiration?
Lady Gaga, the Nicki Minaj, Katy Perry's, I watch award shows or whatever. I usually just, steal a little bit of things from them. That's pretty much what fashion is. It always changes.
In all, the designers, models, and those involved with the La Couture Welcome to the Hamptons production were happy with the final product of the show.
There's always little glitches, but you know what? We got through it, and I think everyone enjoyed the show.
It was a great show. Well put together, the lights, the theatrics, everything was together. La Couture always does a great job.
They put in so many hours, and we're just so happy that we did a good job and it's over.
The Welcome to the Hamptons fashion show was the last of La Couture's event for the semester. The next interest meeting will be in the fall.
The Boys and Girls Club of Pike and surrounding counties provide a safe place to learn and grow, and as Felicia Payne shows us, kids learned yesterday what it takes to be a hero.
The Boys and Girls Club of Pike and surrounding counties honored local heroes Wednesday as part of National Boys and Girls Club of America Week. Among the heroes present were City of Troy police and fire departments, EMTs, and military personnel.
People who have an influence on the kids' lives, they came and shared different things with them as well as did some activities with them.
The speakers gave advice to the children on what to do in case they see an emergency vehicle and how to keep themselves safe in the event of a fire or other emergency.
Well, we hope to let them see us and let us know where, since we do serve them and we work for them, basically, let them see where their tax money goes and talk to the kids about fire safety, about what to do in a fire, how to call 911, and also how to call in medical emergencies and things of that nature.
The children were also able to ask the heroes questions about their careers and how to prepare for a job in that field one day.
If that's definitely your goal, stay focused and definitely do it.
See that there's good and there's good opportunities in this world if you work hard and you put effort toward it, and we want to show them that.
They learned about what the fire department does or what to do if a fire happens at home. They told them things like that, and also the armed forces, what they do, what they fight for.
Events are planned for the rest of the week, including a focus on healthy lifestyle Thursday evening and an open house for the community on Friday evening. Felicia Payne, Troy, TrojanVision News.
If you are interested in volunteering for the Boys and Girls Club, you can visit their website at www.bgcpsc.net for more information. Well, Bailey, Troy University students got a chance to get up close and personal with some unusual critters.
That's right, Judson. A variety of snakes was on Troy's campus, courtesy of the Pike County Reptile Association. Kendra Richards shows us more.
Snakes, and more snakes. Troy University's Environmental Club teamed up with the Pike County Reptile Association to spread awareness about different reptiles.
Today we're doing a educational demonstration for the Environmental Club at Troy University. Just trying to give the students a little bit of education about what they're going to possibly encounter in the wild, things that there's a lot of misconceptions about reptiles and amphibians, and we want to just kind of try to clear up some of the muddy water as far as what's fact and what's fiction.
The Reptile Association wants all students to learn that all snakes are not poisonous and that there are some reptiles that are gentle and make great pets.
And everybody talks about, is the snake poisonous? And snakes are venomous. The venom's injected, poison, something you come into contact with. So it's really just simple things that that just can educate students themselves, as far as also maybe what they would see in the wild in Alabama.
Here on the campus of Troy University, we have snakes from corn snakes to king snakes and snakes from just all over the world. Although many people are afraid of snakes, there are some who just adore this slick, slithering creature.
I love snakes. I think that they're completely thought of in the wrong light and that people really need to give them a chance because they're way more afraid of us than we are of them. Actually, this guy's probably not afraid of anybody, but, they're really awesome.
All of the snakes on display today are examples of friendly, scaly creatures that you may find in your backyard. Kendra Richards, Troy, TrojanVision News.
For those who enjoy learning about reptiles, you can visit PikeCountyReptile.com for more information on how to get involved.
And now taking a look at news from around the state, in Hartselle, a North Alabama woman is criticizing a school's decision to eject her 4-year-old disabled daughter from class. Brandy Borden says Hartselle Superintendent William Michael Reed kicked her daughter out of Burleson Elementary School after she moved a half a mile outside of city limits. The girl, Madison Nicole Borden, is blind and has cerebral palsy.
In Gulf Shores, authorities say one teenager is dead and another is hospitalized after being caught in the Gulf Shores surf. Police say a 14-year-old boy died while swimming near a beach pavilion at Gulf State Park, and a 16-year-old boy was listed in critical condition after being caught in the surf while swimming in the Gulf of Mexico several miles away.
And in Montgomery, a state legislator has renewed his efforts to pass a constitutional amendment to allow copies of the Ten Commandments to be posted on the walls in state buildings, including schools. The House Constitution, Campaigns, and Elections Committee delayed consideration of the bill by Representatives Dwayne Bridges of Valley for a week so the committee could study whether or not this bill is constitutional.
Still to come on Troy TrojanVision Nightly News, the Trojan softball team is in action at home. Tiffany Lester will be in next in sports to update us on the details of the game.
But first, the Secret Service members involved in the alleged prostitution scandal are now facing some consequences. We'll have more on that after the break.
Underneath everything we are all people. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united.
Three children die every minute because they don't have access to clean drinking water. Let's do what it takes to save a child.
At the heart of what we do in the College of Business is care for the students.
We feel like the students are our most important assets.
I have never been anywhere where I've known so many students on first-name basis.
What we try to do at Troy University is provide an experience to students that not only provide the curriculum that allows them to be successful in the business world, but we also try to expand their horizons to reach greater opportunities that maybe they didn't think they were capable of before.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we'll go to Judson Garner at the Global News Desk. Judson?
Thanks, Bailey. 3 members of the Secret Service allegedly involved in last week's prostitution scandal have been forced out of the agency. The Secret Service's assistant director says the investigation is not over. Suzanne McGinnis is following the developments and has the latest from Washington.
3 Secret Service agents are out of a job for their involvement in the Colombian prostitution scandal, and lawmakers expect others soon will be.
My understanding is there will be more resignations coming in the next day or so.
Already 1 supervisor has been fired, another supervisor forced to retire, and a 3rd agent resigned. 8 others remain on administrative leave with their security clearance suspended. Some members of the team allegedly hired prostitutes after a night of partying in Cartagena ahead of President Obama's arrival. Congressman Peter King says there's no evidence drugs played a role, but says the agency's investigation will be thorough.
A number of them are right now undergoing drug tests and polygraphs.
The White House has expressed disappointment in the scandal, but is standing by the Secret Service director. One Republican senator is suggesting the president's leadership is partly to blame.
That sounds very much like a lawmaker attempting to politicize something that is not at all political.
The Secret Service is moving aggressively to get to the bottom of the scandal, with investigators on the ground in Colombia and Washington. The agency continues to brief members of Congress, and one hearing is expected next week. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, the White House.
The United Nations and Syria have signed an agreement on how to enforce the country's fragile ceasefire. Syrian forces are still shelling parts of the country, even though the first team of peacekeepers have arrived. Tina Kraus reports from London.
Syrian and UN officials signed a deal defining the rules for peacekeepers monitoring the country's ceasefire. A small team of unarmed observers is in Damascus, but the United Nations is pushing to send in 300 monitors quickly to try to bring peace to the region. Despite the week-old ceasefire between government and opposition forces, explosions are still battering rebel towns like Homs.
The past few days in particular has brought reports of renewed and escalating violence.
The government still hasn't withdrawn troops or heavy weapons as the ceasefire demands. Foreign ministers met Thursday in Paris and called the UN peace plan the last hope to end the crisis.
I think we are all here out of a sense of great frustration and outrage over what we see occurring in Syria.
The U.S. is considering giving rebels some help in the fight, but won't supply heavy weapons. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta told Congress the U.S. isn't ruling out military action, but still hopes diplomacy will work.
Make no mistake, one way or another, this regime will ultimately meet its end.
Many Syrians are tired of waiting. Angry crowds mobbed UN peacekeepers in Damascus Wednesday, accusing the international community of ignoring the violence. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Fans are still mourning the death of Dick Clark. The 82-year-old entertainment mogul died yesterday after a heart attack. Bigad Shaban has the reaction from Los Angeles.
Philip Mershon is a Hollywood tour guide, and 7 days a week, his first stop is always Dick Clark's star on the Walk of Fame.
My parents weren't yet quite sure about the Beatles, and they weren't quite sure about the Stones, but they were sure about Dick Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Chubby Checker. For more than 4 decades, Clark introduced some of rock and roll's biggest acts, hippest dance moves, and latest hairstyles to American teenagers and their families. And with the music came exposure to black performers, who'd long since been kept out of the national spotlight. Sue Taylor remembers.
He was very approachable and, was able to bring so much entertainment to us from building all those relationships.
It was nearly 50 years ago when Dick Clark moved the taping of American Bandstand from Philadelphia to here at the Prospect Studios in Los Angeles. By that time, LA had become the soul of the American recording industry.
But Clark was never limited to music. He hosted game shows, pitched sweepstakes, and ushered in the new year for nearly 40 years.
He wasn't just the star of it, he was really the conceptualizer of it, and he understood the market.
His company, Dick Clark Productions, created the Golden Globes, the Daytime Emmy Awards, and the Academy of Country Music Awards. For Mershon, Clark was a friend on his TV screen, someone he grew up with.
It's always a shock when basically someone who was in your home every week when you grew up goes away.
But Clark's star will remain, one of many lasting symbols of a life well lived and enjoyed by so many.
And for now, Dick Clark, so long.
Bigad Shaban, CBS News, Los Angeles.
That will wrap things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, you can tune into Trojan Vision Global News right after the nightly news. Now back to you, Bailey.
Thank you, Judson. And now Tiffany Lesser joins us for a look at sports. So, Tiffany, at the end of the week, getting into the weekend, we have a few big games going on, but as of right now, we have one sport that's already in action.
It's true. The softball team is playing right now as we speak against Florida State Seminoles, and I'll give some updates on that in just a few minutes. But first, let's take a look at some tennis. The Troy women's tennis team is advancing to the quarterfinals of the Sun Belt Conference Championships after they had a 4-0 first-round victory over the University of Arkansas Little Rock on Thursday. Troy dropped one match in doubles play to UALR, but captured the wins at numbers 1 and 3 and had a shutout win in singles play. The Trojans take on number 2 FIU on Friday at 8 a.m. FIU received a bye into the quarterfinals. Ofa Dawali, Rosario Ramirez Vega, and Munoz Duran won their matches that gave Troy the 4-0 win. And all things must come to an end, and the Troy women's golf team knows that feeling of the end as they close out their 2011-2012 season at the 2012 Sun Belt Conference Women's Golf Championship on Wednesday. After carding first and second round scores of 309 and 317, the Trojans closed out the tournament with a 307 to finish in 8th with a 933 at 69 over par. Sydney Conrad finished with a season best result in a tie for 21st place. And the Trojan softball team has returned home this week after a 3-1 road trip to Florida last weekend. And their bats have been on fire, as in 4 of their 6 games last week. The Trojans posted at least 10 hits as they saw their team batting average rise from .265 to .271. Troy will play 4 games against Florida State Seminoles, who came into the weekend with a series win against Georgia Tech. The first pitch of that game was at 4 today, and it's the last report. Troy's up 4-3 with 6 runs and no errors, so that's very good. And while the softball team is currently in action, the baseball team hits the road this weekend to play Western Kentucky. The Trojans are going into the matchup after their big series win against Middle Tennessee last weekend. Troy has won 4 straight at WKU and 8 of the last 10. Troy hasn't been in Bowling Green since 2008, though. Head coach Bobby Pierce says that winning this series could determine their place in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament.
Kentucky is hosting the Sun Belt Conference Tournament, so they have that either pressure or incentive, however you want to look at it, on them, because right now, you know, we're in similar position to them, and we really need to win this series in case it were to come down to a tiebreaker for who gets in the tournament or what the seeding may be.
Right-hander Tyler Ray will get the Friday night start for the Trojans, and the Hilltoppers will counter with the sophomore right-hander Justin Hageman. First pitch of the series is set for 6 p.m. on Friday. There's a 4 p.m. game on Saturday, and ending the series at 1 p.m. on Sunday. So Bailey Judson, the softball team is looking good right now with winning, and the baseball team, hopefully they can get a win away at Western Kentucky for the first time in action there since 2008.
Absolutely. I hope the softball team can keep up the good streak right now, and best of luck to baseball on this weekend.
And tennis as well.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Tiffany. Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, Aaron Taylor talks to a Troy professor researching tornado recovery.
But first, we saw rain on and off yesterday with light showers today. Should we keep an umbrella on hand, or will things clear up? Bree?
We did experience a little bit of rain yesterday, but it looks like from here on out, we could be saying goodbye to that rainy weather. I'll have more coming up next on weather.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
RBIs and 36 homers. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it deep back into the stands.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Can I have $1? Yeah, it's right. I think my purse is upstairs on the bed. It's not here. Check the dining room. No. What about your sister's room? It's not there either. The upstairs closet? The downstairs closet? There are no more closets.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now Bree Sanders joins us for a look at weather.
So, Bree, today, for the most part, it's been pretty clear outside, but we experienced a little bit of rain earlier, which left a lot of moisture in the air. Is this going to be, like, feeling a lot better anytime soon?
It will. It looks like those spring conditions are here to stay at least for the next couple of days, but I'll get more into that in just a moment. First, let's take a look at our campus snapshot. Right now on campus, we see the sun is setting right over Bibb Graves, so if you're headed to class or headed home from work, you can just go outside and enjoy the rest of your evening. Taking a look at our current conditions. Right now we have sunny skies, temperatures at 75 degrees, dew points at 63 degrees. Humidity is at 67%. Barometer is at 29.92 inches and falling. Winds are coming in from the east-northeast from 5 to 10 miles per hour. Looking at today's stats, we had a high today of 78, a low of 55. There was no rain today. The sun rises at 6:09 a.m. and it should set at 7:17 p.m. Looking at our temperatures around the state, overall, the state is in the mid-70s right now. Mobile coming in with a high of 78, as well as Dothan. Huntsville at 74, Birmingham at 70, Montgomery at 74, Troy at 75, Phoenix City at 70. Looking at our temperatures around the southeast in our area, we're experiencing some upper 60-degree temperatures right here through the middle part of our state. But as we move throughout the rest of the southeast, those temperatures remain constant in the mid-60s, Florida in the mid-70s, as well as certain parts of Texas in the lower 80s. Looking at our temperatures around the United States, over here in the northeast, they're in the mid-60s, pretty warm for what they've been seeing over the past couple of days, but as we move back through our area, those temperatures warm back up into the upper 60s, lower 70s. Looking at our current surface map here around the Michigan area, they're experiencing a little bit of rain, a few cold fronts, a little bit of warm fronts coming through the area as well, bringing in those precipitation systems. But as we take a closer look in our area, we have a few light winds, nothing much going on. Doesn't look like we'll have any rain for the rest of this evening. Precipitation forecast for the next 48 hours in our area. We shouldn't be experiencing too much of any rain, but the northern part of our state will have about a 20% chance of rain or so, a few light showers coming in through their area. As we move into Friday, that rain clears back out of the northern part of our state, but as we go into Saturday, that rain comes back a little bit heavy, about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain or so, so you may want to grab that umbrella or that rain jacket just to stay dry. As we try to end our weekend on Sunday, that rain pushes back out of our area, and as we start the next week on Monday, it looks like we'll have a pretty clear week to start off with next week. For tonight's forecast, we have partly cloudy skies, about a 20% chance of rain, winds light and variable coming in from the east-northeast at about 4 miles per hour with a low of 60 degrees. So tonight will be a little bit different from last night. There'll be no rain tonight. It'll be a very mild night tonight, so if you want to, you can definitely go outside and enjoy the evening. For tomorrow's forecast, we have clouds early, sunshine in the afternoon, light winds coming in from the north-northeast at about 5 miles per hour with a high of 81. So tomorrow will be much like today, warm outside, sunny, no rain. Definitely go outside and enjoy your Friday. Class outlook for tomorrow, at about 7 a.m. it should be about 62 degrees, and as we move throughout the rest of the day, it warms up to about 78 degrees, so you can definitely go outside and enjoy the day, like I said earlier. Looking at our 4-day forecast for tomorrow, we have the high of 81, low of 58. Saturday, the high gets to 77 with about a 50% chance of thunderstorm, with a low of 57. Sunday, that high gets to 74, and Monday, that high stays in the mid-70s. So, Judson, you asked earlier about those spring temperatures, and it looks like they're here to stay for a while. Maybe a little bit of rain this weekend, but nothing too much to worry about.
So definitely probably need to keep that umbrella handy, right?
Definitely.
All right, thanks a lot, Bree.
You're welcome.